Ever said something and immediately wished you could grab the words mid-air and shove them back into your mouth? That instant regret. We've all felt it. What if you could speak with such clarity, calm, and confidence that every word you said left a lasting impression, not because it was loud, but because it was wise? In a world where everyone's trying to be heard, the rarest power is knowing when and how to speak. That's the kind of strength we're unlocking today. Have you ever blurted out something, only to instantly wish you could rewind time? Like your words shot out like an arrow, and no matter how hard you try, you can't pull it back. That moment of regret, of awkward silence, it's familiar. But what if you could train yourself to speak with control, precision, and presence, where every word reflects intelligence, grace, and inner strength? That's exactly what we're diving into today. 6 things an intelligent person never says. All drawn from the timeless teachings of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism reminds us, words aren't just noise. They're mirrors of your mind, your discipline, and your values. From avoiding empty bragging to mastering the power of silence. These habits don't just improve how you communicate, they shape how others experience you. And here's the best part. By the end of this video, you'll have real, practical tools to elevate your speech, whether you're in a tough conversation at work, talking with friends, or navigating that loud inner critic in your own head. So don't scroll away. This isn't just about what you say, it's about understanding how your words quietly build or break your reputation. Let's begin. Rule number 1. Avoid boasting about knowledge. Have you ever met someone who couldn't stop talking about how much they knew? The kind of person who constantly brings up their achievements, their books, their wisdom as if each conversation was a TED Talk. At first, you might be curious or even impressed, but over time, something shifts. That admiration turns into quiet distance. Why? Not because their knowledge isn't valuable, but because their need to showcase it makes others feel small. Stoic philosophy warns us against this. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, nature does not boast about what it creates, neither should we. True wisdom doesn't need a spotlight. It shines on its own. Let me share a real story. There was a man I once knew. Let's call him John. He was brilliant in the tech world, a true expert. But whenever we were in meetings or casual gatherings, John had this habit of trying to be the smartest person in the room. He'd talk endlessly about the complex systems he built, the awards he received, the major companies he advised. At first, everyone listened, but slowly, people began to pull away. It felt less like a conversation and more like a personal highlight. One day, a colleague finally told him, "John, your knowledge is amazing, but the way you share it, it's exhausting." That moment hit him hard. For the first time, he realized, in trying to impress others, he was actually pushing them away. This is a trap many intelligent people fall into. When you feel that urge to talk about what you know, pause. Ask yourself, why am I sharing this? Is it to contribute something meaningful, or is it to earn admiration? When your words seek validation, they lose authenticity. And when people feel like they're being measured against your brilliance, they begin to withdraw. The Stoics offer a better way. First, let your actions speak for you. If you truly know something, it will show in how you solve problems, in the calm you bring to chaos, in the way others turn to you for clarity. Second, practice humility. Not the kind that shrinks you, but the kind that allows others to discover your depth without you needing to declare it. Because in the end, it's not about how loud your knowledge It's about how deeply it resonates in silence. After learning that true intelligence doesn't need to be shouted, just quietly demonstrated, we arrive at another powerful lesson: the strength of listening. Listening, at first glance, may seem passive, but in reality, it's an act of discipline and depth. When you listen not just to respond, but to understand, you open doors to learning, connection, and mutual respect. To the Stoics, listening is a form of powerful silence. It's not about lacking something to say, it's about having the confidence and wisdom to hold space for others. Silence, in this context, isn't weakness. It's strength, restraint, and awareness all rolled into one. John, whom we met earlier, eventually learned this lesson not overnight, but gradually, through real interaction and experience. He began speaking less about himself and tuning in more deeply to what others had to share. The more he listened, not just to words, but to emotions and intent, the more people began to seek him out, not for his credentials, not for his intelligence, but for the calm, thoughtful presence he brought into every room. His humility turned him from someone who impressed people into someone who inspired them. Because here's the truth: knowledge isn't meant to be hoarded or flaunted. It's meant to be shared in a way that uplifts, connects, and empowers those around you. Avoiding boastfulness doesn't mean silencing your voice or never sharing your knowledge. It means presenting your ideas with clarity and humility so others feel included, not inferior. So they feel heard, not overlooked. That's the foundation Stoic philosophy gives us. Your words are reflections of your character. And every time you choose humility over arrogance, you don't just protect your integrity, you elevate the space around you. So ask yourself, what are your words saying about you? Are they building bridges or walls? Rule number 2, never dismiss others. Opinions. Have you ever spoken up only to be cut off or brushed aside before you even finished your thought? It's a terrible feeling, as if your effort, your preparation, your voice meant nothing. Worse, it makes you question your own value. Was my idea really that useless? Am I just not worth listening to? I know that sting all too well, because I was the one who caused it. Early in my leadership career, I prided myself on making quick decisions. I thought speed equaled strength. One day, during a team meeting, a colleague suggested a new idea to streamline our workflow. Without giving it a second thought, I interrupted and dismissed it, outright calling it impractical before they even finished explaining. I thought I was saving everyone time, but what I actually did was silence the room. The energy shifted. People stopped making eye contact. Ideas dried up afterward. A trusted team member gently pulled me aside and said, "Maybe you should have listened a little longer. That idea wasn't as bad as it first sounded." That sentence hit me like a splash of cold water. I realized I hadn't just rejected an idea. I'd unknowingly signaled to my team that their voices didn't matter, and that's dangerous. Stoic philosophy teaches that true wisdom doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from remaining open. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "You cannot learn what you think you already know." When we instantly reject someone's opinion, we're not just closing the door on creativity, we're eroding trust. We weaken our leadership without even realizing it. From that moment forward, I changed the way I approached every conversation. I reminded myself that listening doesn't mean agreement. It simply means giving respect, giving space for possibility. To my surprise, when I adopted a more curious mindset, My team responded with bold, creative ideas, some of which I would have never thought of myself. So here's a mindset shift you can try. Instead of asking, how can I counter this idea? Ask, what can I learn from this perspective? Even flawed ideas often contain valuable seeds. And even if they don't, you gain something else just as important. A better understanding of how another person views the challenge. And that kind of understanding, it's gold. Lastly, remember this: dismissing someone else's opinion is at its core a form of self-centeredness. It places your perspective above all others, as if you alone hold the truth. But no one person sees the full picture. We all have blind spots, and it's in listening with patience, humility, and curiosity that we begin to see more clearly. After changing my approach, everything began to shift. The air in our meetings felt lighter. I stopped acting like I had to know everything and instead started asking questions, genuine, curious questions. I began inviting even the quietest team members to speak up. And what happened? Not only did we come up with better ideas, but something deeper happened. The team started feeling more respected, more united. It dawned on me that every single person, yes, every single one had something to teach me. Something I had missed all along. Because of my own impatience and overconfidence, in the end. Refusing to dismiss other people's opinions isn't just an act of humility, it's a smart strategy. When you start respecting the views of those around you, you unlock a whole world of ideas, insights, and connections. You build trust. You create an atmosphere where real innovation can thrive. The Stoics were right. Wisdom isn't about proving you're right. It's about understanding that everyone carries a piece of the truth. Now, the next lesson 3. Refrain from complaining without purpose. Picture. This Peter is a seasoned professional in his 40s. He's juggling work deadlines, family responsibilities, and the everyday messes of life. But instead of tackling challenges with calm and clarity, Peter complains. Constantly from co-workers being inefficient to the office coffee machine always. Breaking down, Peter's got a problem with everything. At first, his colleagues were understanding. They offered sympathy and even solutions. But as weeks passed, Peter's negativity became a black cloud. Conversations with him felt draining. People slowly started keeping their distance, not because they didn't care, but because the constant complaints became too much to handle. Then one day, during lunch, a friend finally asked him, "Peter, I hear your frustration, but what are you actually doing to fix these problems?" That question hit hard. Peter realized he wasn't trying to solve anything. He was just venting, endlessly. Worse, he was fueling his own sense of helplessness. This is more common than we admit. It's easy to fall into the trap of venting for the sake of venting, without realizing how it affects others and poisons our own peace. But Stoic philosophy offers us a better way. Focus only on what you can control. Let go of what you can't. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest minds, put it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Complaining about things you can't control only multiplies your frustration and traps you in a cycle of negativity. That said, not all complaints are bad. If they're rooted in purpose, they can lead to change. But when they're aimless, they're just noise, empty words, draining energy and fixing nothing. Think about it. Complaining about traffic won't clear the road. Grumbling about the weather won't stop the rain. The wise know this, and they choose to put their energy where it actually makes a difference. So next time frustration shows up, pause and ask, what can I do about this? If the answer is nothing, let it go. Don't waste your time or peace on things you can't change. Instead, read something that inspires you. Reflect. Be grateful for what's working in your life. Another powerful shift. Reframe your thoughts. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try, what can I learn from this? Because the truth is, every frustration holds a lesson. If you're willing to listen, picking up from where we left off, Peter had just started recognizing how constant complaining was robbing him of his power. And that realization led to a shift. He took his friend's advice seriously and began to change his mindset. Instead of constantly criticizing his manager, Peter started focusing on solutions. He began bringing thoughtful, constructive ideas to the table instead of empty frustration. The traffic jams that once filled him with anger became a time for growth. He used them to listen to audiobooks, practice mindfulness, and reflect. Little by little, his perspective changed. His words no longer carried the sting of negativity, but the strength of someone in control. People began to notice. His colleagues respected him more. They turned to him for guidance, not because he was the loudest, but because he was calm, grounded, and focused on solutions. This is the quiet power of letting go of purposeless complaints. You reclaim your energy, you stop leaking your strength through bitterness, and instead, you become someone who shapes your environment, not someone who's shaped by it. Stoic philosophy teaches us this essential truth. Your words and your thoughts are tools. If used wisely, they can build a life of purpose, peace, and deep human connection. When you let go of empty complaints and replace them with action, you don't just influence others, you transform yourself. For no empty promises. Promises are not just words. They are invisible threads that tie expectations, trust, and relationships together. And yet, how often do we throw them around carelessly, without thinking if we can truly follow through? It usually doesn't come from bad intentions. But when you make promises lightly and break them repeatedly, you chip away at your credibility, sometimes without even realizing it. Stoicism reminds us that integrity isn't in saying more. It's in saying only what you truly mean and can do. Take Greg, for example, a man in his 50s, balancing a demanding job and family life. He wasn't malicious, he just overpromised. He'd tell his team he'd review their reports by Monday. He'd promise his family he'd make it home for dinner. But more often than not, those promises were broken. At first, people were understanding. He's just busy, they said. But over time, something changed. Trust began to fade. His colleagues hesitated to rely on him. His family grew tired of hearing next time. Then one evening, after missing another family event, Greg found a note on his desk from his teenage daughter. "We just want you to mean it when you say it." That simple sentence hit him like a wave. It was the turning point. Greg realized that even though his intentions were good, his broken promises were slowly damaging the relationships he valued most. This story reflects a Stoic truth. Speak with intention, act with integrity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your words be plain and true." A promise isn't just a comfort for now, it's a commitment that defines your character. And when your words outpace your actions, it's like writing checks your integrity can't cash. So how do we stop making empty promises while still building trust? Start here. Pause before you speak. Ask yourself, can I really follow through? Let's continue. After learning to make promises with awareness and integrity, We now come to another vital lesson. Do not deny your mistakes. Have you ever felt that admitting a mistake is like exposing your weakness to everyone, inviting judgment? I used to believe that too, until one experience completely changed my view. Through Stoic philosophy, I came to understand this. Admitting your mistakes does not lower your value. It elevates your character. It shows that you are not only honest, but strong enough to face reality. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I will gladly change. For I seek the truth, and the truth has never harmed anyone." Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was leading a big project at work. In a rush to meet a tight deadline, I overlooked several critical details in the report. That oversight ended up putting my entire team under scrutiny from upper management. When the mistake was discovered, my first instinct was to make excuses. The heavy workload, the lack of time, anything but myself. But deep down, I knew the truth. If I deflected responsibility now, the trust I'd spent years building would slowly crumble. So, at the next team meeting, I took a deep breath and did what was right. I admitted the mistake. I apologized sincerely. And I clearly outlined what I would do to make sure it never happened again. What happened next surprised me. Instead of criticism, my team responded with appreciation. Some even thanked me for being upfront and setting an example. It was then I realized something important. Owning up to my mistake didn't weaken MIT, made me more trustworthy. So why is admitting your mistakes so powerful? Because it breaks down the walls of defensiveness. It tells others that you value truth more than your pride. It signals that you're mature enough to take responsibility and learn from it. And that is the kind of strength no apology can fake. Let's continue from where we left off in the previous part. We talked about the power of owning up to your mistakes and how it builds trust and inner strength. Now let's look deeper. When you choose humility over ego, you're not just being a better person, you're creating a space where others feel safe, too. A space where people can admit their faults and work together on solutions. But let's be honest, admitting you're wrong, it's not always easy. Why? Because we're afraid. Afraid of being judged, of losing respect, of looking weak. But here's the paradox. Does hiding a mistake actually make you look better? Or does it silently chip away at your integrity? Think about it. The courage to admit a mistake isn't a weakness. It's a mark of inner confidence. It says, I'm strong enough to face the truth. I care enough to grow. So how do you apply this in real life? Start with one thing. Self. When something goes wrong, resist the instinct to blame others. Ask yourself, what was my part in this? Even if your role was small, owning it is the first step to real resolution. Then move from words to action. Don't just say, I'm sorry. Fix the problem. Show people through your behavior that you're serious about making things right. Stoic philosophy teaches us this. Mistakes are not the end. They're an invitation to grow. And here's the truth. Those who are brave enough to admit their errors don't just improve themselves. They inspire others to do the same. Every time you take responsibility, you build trust. Every time you face your flaws, you earn respect. So the next time you slip up, don't deflect, don't hide, pause, reflect, own it, and take action toward becoming better. That's what sets you apart. 6. Don't overshare your future plans. The Stoics also believed in this. Be careful with your promises. Not just because of what they mean to others, but because they protect your reputation, your credibility, your word. Even small, broken promises can slowly wear down the trust people place in you. Let me give you an example. Jim is a kind, well-meaning professional in his 40s, always friendly, always willing to help. Anytime someone asked him for something, move a couch, join a project, show up at an event, Jim would smile and say, "Sure, count me in." But over time, life got busy. His schedule filled up. He started forgetting things, missing commitments. One day, a close friend invited him to a family dinner, something that mattered deeply to them. Jim said yes without hesitation, but he forgot. He double-booked himself with a work meeting. The next day, his friend told him how hurt their family was. That moment hit Jim hard. He realized his intentions weren't bad, but his careless yes was hurting the people he cared about most. His words had become hollow. It's a common trap we overcommit, because we don't want to disappoint. We want to please, to seem agreeable, to avoid saying no. But the Stoics warned us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius, your words should reflect your reality. Your promises should carry weight, because what truly hurts people isn't the word no. It's the promise you didn't keep. So how can you avoid falling into this trap? Start with a simple pause. Before you agree to anything, ask yourself, does this fit my priorities? Can I actually follow through? If not, say no with respect. That honesty is worth far more than a fake yes. People may not always like it in the moment, but they will trust you more. Next, focus on quality over quantity. It's better to do a few things well than promise everything and deliver nothing. And when you say you'll do something, do it. Jim realized that delivering on a promise isn't just about doing. It's about doing it with intention and excellence. That mindset helped him build a reputation for reliability and respect. And here's something that Stoics understood deeply. Saying no isn't selfish. It's self-awareness. They believed in focusing only on what is within your control. Because when you try to do too much, when you stretch yourself too thin, you lose the power to show up fully for the commitments that actually matter. Think of it this way. Every time you say yes to something you don't mean, you say no to something that might truly need your attention. And over time, that habit chips away at your integrity. But Jim began to change. After his wake-up call, he chose a different path. He started saying no to the things he couldn't genuinely commit to. He stopped over-promising, and instead, he focused on honoring the commitments that aligned with his values. What happened next? His relationships improved. People respected him not because he said yes all the time, but because he always followed through when he did. Avoiding empty promises isn't just about being polite or organized. It's about living in alignment. When your actions match your values, your connections deepen, your words carry weight, and slowly you become someone others can truly count, and someone you can respect, too. The Stoics often reminded us, every word you speak shapes how others see you and how you see yourself. So, the next time someone asks you for a favor or a commitment, take a pause, breathe, reflect, and only promise what you can genuinely honor. Because that's not just wisdom, that's real strength. If you found this helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe, tap the notification bell, and leave a comment below sharing your own journey, your successes, your struggles, and even the no's that helped you grow. And if you're not sure what to comment, just write "I love this" to let me know you finished this video. I'll leave 2 more videos right here to help you keep growing on your personal development journey. Thanks, Aganand. I'll see you in the next one.